break even to losing $250,000. I know you said you weren't around, but you're saying those numbers.
So the 1 year it broke even, it was only broke even because it reduced the endowment by a couple $100,000. So you had an endowment fund, and you took that to subsidize the operating loss out of here. That's how you broke even.
Yeah, go ahead. I can look at anybody.
During the acquisition of the building, though, if you had the inspector come and say the building is not sustainable at this point, and your calculations go up to 2042, I believe is what the inspector report has on it. If you're able to predict 2042, if you acquired it in 2007, it wasn't predictable. I mean, if we're just sitting here, because all of us can just get up and walk out. I mean, if you're just gonna sit here, just pitter patter, keep giving them excuses. I mean, did you guys bite off more than you could chew? Is that what happened? Because Pottstown's here, the Y is not going to be here. The children are going to be here. The Y isn't going to be here. You're not going to be here. You're not a part of this community. The community is going to fall apart. You came in with the responsibilities of the property maintenance, property management, property, the membership to come to the property. Somebody failed somewhere. Somebody, I mean, our mission statement as the NAACP, that's what I'm here on behalf of. Our mission statement is almost the same as yours. We got to call you here. Why didn't we get a call to our community to do the fundraising for the projects that need to be done? Have the projects that need to be undertaken, have they gone to a bidding process? Have you gotten any actual bids, or was this an estimate that came up? There's a lot of problems because this is the cornerstone of the community, and I'm a transplant analyst. If you rented a room down the street for a week, you would see how important this place is to the people. This Pottstown YMCA serves within walking distance 22,500 people. Moving the daycare 2 miles up the street, that's an impossibility for most of the people that live here. They don't have those options. And what you're doing, if you're just going to sit here, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, we're all grown-ups. This going on right now, it is a silliness. Our mission statements are the same, and we had to bring you here. Our mission statements are the same. But you're leaving us.
So we did form a community task force, and we had lots of people from different organizations on the task force, and this one included, to look at ways that we could deliver services to the community. The challenge is the building. The kind of money that's required to maintain the building.
I understand that you took on your organization, not you personally, but the organization that sits in front of the NAACP, who's here for the minorities and disadvantaged of this community. The Freedom Valley YMCA came into our community and disrupted it. Are you holding yourself accountable for that? This is a disruption, a major disruption in the community. It's just honesty. Like you said, if you want it off the record, then put it off the record. A lot of us would feel better, could breathe better, because as far as I'm concerned, this is just redlining. That's all it is. This is redlining the community. The blacks stay in Philly, and that's where that Y will be adjusted and handled accordingly. It will be knocked out of Norristown. It will be knocked out here. It will be added to Willow Grove there where they have money. And these bigger, nicer ones, I'm just not understanding. This is redlining at its greatest. And I mean, you can admit it or you can't, or you can admit, hey, we messed up over here. We put out more than we could chew, but that's not happening. We can get a lot of answers. There's no questions to be asked. It's just answers.
So if you don't mind me asking, and I don't take any disrespect at all. This is a tough issue. So do you agree that there's a building challenge?
Was there a building challenge before you acquired the building? Is what I'm asking. Before you took out any loans or before you would purchase a building, you would get an inspection report. If every inspection report was even half of what I've seen that you guys have listed for what is needed, it would not be economically feasible to take it on. So it wouldn't.
I can't comment on why there was not a building audit. Typically over the years in the history of the Ys, in terms of building audits, I can't comment on why it wasn't done. So we did an audit of all our buildings so that we could plan better for the whole system. You referred to a couple of other Ys, and in order for us to operate one way at a deficit, it means we have to operate otherwise at a surplus. So collectively, the whole system is able to sustain itself. We have to balance that.
I understand that, but a lot of the donors, and your donors are listed, they're not in privacy. A lot of the donors are from this area. A lot of the donors. You were spearheading a campaign with names like Norristown and Pottstown. I'm sorry, but nobody's donating to Gilbertsville. They're not the impoverished one. They're not the one that has the need. They're not the one that has the troubled youth. People are donating because they want to see better in this community.
But just to be clear, we do run an annual campaign at all our branches, and we do receive donations.
And I understand that as well. It's an annual, that's one time, right? An annual.
Well, that is each and every year.
Right, an annual. But I'm saying, we're also a part of this community, and then our community is going to be disrupted by an outside force with no chance to save our own community. That's why we have questions like, how long did you know this? Look, I have a business, there's several other business owners here. We don't jump ship at the last minute. We know when we're running a deficit. We know if we are running a deficit. We know the sustainability of our business. This is part of your business. You knew for more than a month that this building was not sustainable. You knew that it had to be closed. You said you're running a deficit of $250,000. The newspaper reported that the pool ran at a $200,000 deficit. They shut down one pool. So the numbers are confusing. There's a lot of numbers that are shouted out. The numbers don't matter. You're taking the cornerstone. There is nothing else left in this town. You guys will go back to Conshohocken and Willow Grove and the Main Line. And meanwhile, the children, come June, will be on the streets. The next YMCA, if it's according to your mission statement, will be the Norristown Juvenile Facility Center because they don't have any other constructive outlets. And that goes to the whole community. You also have the children that you came into the community and took away. You also took away a big portion of donors because the peak program funding could have been going to other facilities in the area, and we could have planned for this.
No, just to be clear, that service was delivered through the school. And by the way,
I understand through false promise. So did you tell the school that we will not be here 3 years down the road? Or could they have set up other situations to revitalize High Street by putting in daycare facilities?
That program is not disappearing. That program will be continued.
Continue through Pottstown, but what would be associated with the YMCA in Saratoga? The median income of Pottstown is $45,000. The median income of Saratoga is $70,000. Saratoga is not in Pottstown. On your website, it says it was put to a central location in Pottstown to make it easier and more convenient for everybody in Pottstown. Saratoga is further out in the suburb. I'm not walking out to Saratoga. Nobody hears them. You're not going to walk out to Saratoga.
And most of the mothers without children have no transportation. So the child
this
care-
was not taken into consideration. When you say the more fortunate YMCAs have to pick up the bill for the less fortunate, that is the mission statement. It's to help people. It's not helping people in Willow Grove. I understand you have to run it that way. But the donations that are coming in and running at a loss, running at your deficit, all that other stuff, we're not going to be able to sleep with our children.
Can I make a statement real quick?
Sure.
I think what you're saying is important here, and I think you also deserve to know why on the board we voted the way we did. I think it's very.
That's what I asked earlier.
That's what
Yeah,
we're looking for.
and, you know,
And before you say that,
Yeah.
I would like to know, because the statement came up, and I had a question about the board. Now, is this the Freedom Valley Board, or is this the Pottstown Branch Board? What board do you serve on?
I serve on the Freedom Valley.
Okay.
Good, me tired.
Everybody,
Yeah.
everyone else here on Freedom,
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia,
The
yeah,
corporate board.
the corporate board. Okay, because I just wanted to
It's a
distinction.
corporation now, it's not an organization.
No, I mean, we refer to it
Well, you're running with the corporation, so I guess it's sort of good.
It's an association, as opposed to the branch.
Okay,
No,
thank you. I just
but
wanted to
no,
clarify.
but I mean, Mr. Hilton over there, I've read your columns and I follow it, and read your articles, and I don't live too far away from this area, we're running off to your Harbor School District. I get how important it is. I have family who actually teaches class here, and I totally understand that. But going back to what you just said, too, hold on.
I'm living close to here.
Totally understood.
I'm not from here. so
Totally understood.
Living here is a different story.
Totally understood. But one of the things that you said here, which I agree with, is that, and when we started the task force, I thought one of the things, the reason that I voted for this, is because if the building's costing a lot of money, then it's important to take a step back and go, okay, where can we best put this money to use, in good use for the community? And I think the best place that we can do it is to talk to the community, and say, okay, if this is where it is, well, this is gonna be tough, but is there another place that we can have an impact in your community? And that to me is important.
Yeah, I have to point out, my house is close to 50 years old. I've already replaced, you know, the heating system and a few other things. So when a building gets a certain age, you do have to do replacement. There is capital that you have to put in. This building, however, has not had any of that taken care of, and that's where we are now. And And we're saying to you, okay, guys, this is your 50-year-old building. This is what's gonna happen in Spring Valley in 50 years when that building, needs upgrades. Are you gonna then ignore it? I doubt it. So that's what really.
I work in commercial real estate, so I see this stuff all the time. People like functionally obsolete buildings and what people do with them. I won't even go there, Eric, because I'm probably the least mechanically inclined person in this room.
Right,
So I
not
can't
saying
speak
well,
to
so
that.
what I'm asking is, why would anybody even consider taking on a building with the needs that this building, at this age? Why would anybody say, we're going to come into the community as a charity
Yeah.
and help the community, but we received nothing but the gaping hole that's going to be left behind? If you guys didn't come in there, it would have been left on us. It would have been our own fault for not repairing the furnace.
So that was, I hate to skirt it, that was before my time, I can't speak to that. But what I hope that.
But you voted to close it down.
I voted to close it down based on the information I have right now.
Okay.
But what I hope we could do, and I still hope we can do, because they're perfect candidate to be spearheading this. I mean, how can we do something that, like, I live here, I drive down High Street, there's a lot of storefronts that are.
Can you understand and you understand redlining? This is the idea, and this is the epitome of redlining. This is when you're taking from one community, you came into a community and said, we're going to make it worse. That only allows for our citizens to not thrive. It allows for us to implode on ourselves and be that community to where the rest of the community, the dregs of society will be left.
And I can tell you, that was, and I sincerely mean this, that was not my intent when I voted for it.
May I ask,
When I voted for this was to see if there's a way we can work, we grew up.
But
I get what
was
you're
there a
saying.
you say that you voted for that. Was there a transition then for another building in mind where you said, here's $4 million that's proposed at this spot in Pottstown?
Now,
And that was
before the
over
record,
that task.
before the record, you said that you would like to work. I was at a task force meeting
Yeah.
when members of the representatives Freedom Y told the task force, you're irrational. I can't think who said it. So your board needs to know the comment that was made was what drove me to invite the other Sean Elliott to our NAACP meeting. That comment was made, was you there? When that comment was made that the task force was irrational.
That was the association board or the advisory
Task
board?
force. I'll just say it's for the task force. First of all, you voted on it one meeting long. We did a year's due diligence. The Freedom Valley engineering.
No, answer his question. Who was it at that meeting that said?
That I don't know.
Okay. But it was representatives of the Freedom Y
Yes.
that were there.
and with your decision to vote against it, with the information that was given to you, how much of the restricted assets that were designated for this branch were transferred to the Philadelphia Freedom Fund? How many? I mean, because there were designated assets that donors were giving just for this property.
There was no money transfer.
There were no transfer. How many have gone to Phoenixville that was designated for here?
There's no money that was designated for here that was transferred anywhere.
So your records would reflect that in your financial statement.
Right. So you may recall that I said there were some funds, donor directed, $1 million to go to the upper Perk, for me. They were the donors' funds to the side. There was $1.6 million that was all spent on this building. There was no assets to transfer. And so over the next decade, the branch has been running at a loss each and every year.
But you do have designated assets that come here. You have grants and trusts, charitable trusts like Robert Smith. You have other endowments that come just for this place, right?
So donations help reduce the deficit, but it doesn't cover the deficit. So over the last 5 years, there was $1.1 million in donations directed to the Pottstown branch. Even after that, it lost $3.5 million, plus in terms of capital or repairs, the Philadelphia Y put in an extra $1 million. So this has been operating at a loss for decades.
John, just to correct the record, that money that you're referring to is not money that was raised in any capital campaign here in the community. It's money that was shown on your annual report as coming from the school district, the $250,000 a year shown as a donation. If you add that up, it'll come to your million two. So there was no capital campaign in Pottstown to raise money. or the?
No, there's just an annual campaign to cover, and it's directed at the operating deficits.
You see, we came into a community and upset it. I mean, I understand your answers and I do respect it from a business standpoint, but now you're sitting with people whose lives will be affected. You seriously have to understand. The gentleman here was addressing it. The aftercare plan that you keep stating is deficit, deficit, deficit. You took on the deficits, but you keep saying as well.
We did.
But what were your plans for that deficit? Why was it not met? And why did you leave us holding the baggage then because you failed?
So the intent was hopefully, I think I'm sure people went in and hopefully they could turn around the operating base. Having said that, we're still interested in delivering the service. We're committed to delivering the service. We're committed to finding a different location to deliver health, wellness, fitness programs. We have got a new childcare center. We're also open to other ideas, and quite frankly, would be more than interested and more than willing to hear your ideas of how we serve the community. The trouble is the building itself. We just
Okay,
can't
you didn't come
afford
to us
it.
and ask the community. You didn't come to the community.
Well, in fact, we did. That's what we formed the task force.
Well, wait a minute, now I have to clear the record. I was at the task force meeting when that gentleman, I'm sure he made this statement, that the recommendations that the task force was given, he said he's gonna take it back to the board, but he was sure that it was not gonna be accepted, we're not gonna agree with any recommendation that the task force made.
I wouldn't quote me on that. What I did say in the task force, which is what the commission stated, and everyone knew going into this, and I think Jamie was speaking to this too, was we need to figure out a way to sustainably serve our community outside the four walls. So if the recommendation to stay inside the four walls, that would be accepted. We need to figure out a way to deliver services outside of the four walls. That was the only kind of stipulation I gave to the committee. The committee agreed to that. Every single member that started out on the original committee agreed to that, Jim included. I mean, you saw the commissions, right? So,
And I want comments.
yep.
So the idea was to ask for the community's input on how to deliver services in a different form outside the walls so that we could sustain them.
But that's what I keep trying to reiterate to you though, is the actual walls is what helps this community.
Yeah.
You have to understand that you're not from this community, and I'm, with all due respect, and again, not being a part of the community, you're not understanding the community, you're not serving the community needs, which is the mission statement. So if I'm sitting here telling you, and I'm not the only person, there's 22,500 just like me, the children in this type of environment need the walls, they need the doors, they need the supervision. This itself is the investment in the community. You have to understand, that's what you took on. You took it on without knowing that. And the only thing, I'll leave, I'll stop bugging you. You just say, we didn't know that and you messed up. And I'm not hearing that. I just keep hearing deficit, deficit, deficit. There was a deficit before you. That's what you keep telling me, and you guys still took it on. And you messed up. You did all the things you could do.
To departmentalize each service, it would be like Giant saying, well, Giant Supermarket saying, our building is not sufficient, so we're gonna take the produce and put it on High Street, and we're gonna put the meat on Charlotte Street, and we're gonna have people going this place and that place and this place and that place to get a service. And the problem with Pottstown is that, as we've been stating, it is transportation, it is availability, it is also, we are all creatures of habit. We're all creatures of habit. And to make life comfortable is that when that chain is broken, it will decrease the value of the product. Not only that, but it will also dampen the morale, because people will say, well, I gotta go all the way over here, it's an inconvenience. And so it's not serving you. It's not putting a halo on the YMCA, because it is saying that they have come and disrupted our community. So I think that the decision to make this change, the community was brought in after you had a vote.
And also, I'd like to say this.
Am I not correct? After the
Vote
vote
to
was
close
made.
it, and then you're.
That's true.
Without input, what can we do? So a task force was coming in just to say we have a task force, but we already made our decision.
We're shutting down no matter what.
Well, I was
But
sitting
you
here-
put the child care center in Saratoga.
Saratoga.
If you want to do what's best for Pottstown, Saratoga is not Pottstown. I know people that live around me who walk their children to their child care center.
Most of the people do in this neighborhood.
You took that and put it in Saratoga. So if you really cared about Pottstown, you would have put the child care center in Pottstown. We're a walkable, sustainable community. Upper Perk, they drive. Gilbertsville, they drive wherever they gotta go. Most people in town, we walk.
This is a self-sustaining community. Saratoga is not part of that community whatsoever. On your website, it makes it sound prettier, it makes it sound nicer by saying that it was put in a central location in Pottstown.
You know,
That-
I
that
don't
works
think,
for donors, that sounds good.
I
It
don't
doesn't work
think
for the people here.
the board, I don't think you really understand what you've done and what has happened. I was sitting here waiting for this meeting. A gentleman was sitting out there with a little daughter and she was getting swimming classes or something. He was like, now what do I gotta do? I'm gonna have to, there's 20 minutes to go this place and 20 minutes to come back. It's time consuming. I don't think the decision was made with the consideration of the people that reside in this community. Without asking and putting the community involved in the decision that you made without their input. That's unconscionable.
Okay. We have, before we go any further after that, we have our youngest member of our branch sitting over there, Courtney.
We have two
young members of our branch.
branch.
And Courtney's actually graduating, going to full ride to Lehigh University. I think she wants to study law. We took her down to Montgomery County for a day in court the other day with Judge Darren Page, district attorney, commissioners. And I think they swayed her to practice law now. So she may be doing an intern with, she got a commitment from Fox Rothschild Law Firm in Philadelphia. One of the lawyers there agreed to mentor her and give her an internship. So, and this bracelet I've been wearing for the past, 3 weeks? It is, Pottstown High School says I'm not for sale. It has to do with human trafficking. So NAACP is part of, this young lady brought up that, started that initiative, and NAACP we're trying to follow through. So I'm gonna give her the floor, if you don't mind, and the young gentleman the floor. They are members of the NAACP. They are our two youngest members.
So I've been meaning to interject, I just want to.
You can come forward so they can hear.
But Mr. Coulson gave me a pretty good introduction. So I just have a couple of things I want to say on behalf of myself and other youth in the community. So you, the Freedom Valley, sorry, the Philadelphia Freedom Valley can fully understand how.
Excuse me, since we had a camera, would you please come here so the camera can see you?
So I can say all?
So we can say that. I know I got a big head.
I just have a couple of things to say so that you guys, the Philadelphia Freedom Valley, can fully understand how this is going to negatively impact myself, David, my name's Courtney, by the way, and the other youth in this community. I'm sure you saw some of the children with their families or without their parents out there in the hallway. So as you know, Pottstown is already a really underprivileged area. The majority of our students qualify and receive free lunch and free breakfast. A lot of them don't have sufficient funds at their household. And you took away funds from our local businesses and organizations, one of which was our own school district, that was supposed to be allocated towards our YMCA to help our youth, and now it's going to help other YMCAs and other regions.